3. She controls through guilt. Guilt is one of the most powerful psychological tools and one of the most dangerous. A woman who uses guilt to control you rarely does so overtly. She doesn't yell. She doesn't threaten. She sighs. She goes quiet. She makes you feel like you've failed her, even when you've done nothing wrong. You'll begin to rearrange your life to avoid disappointing her. You'll cancel important plans because she had a rough day. You'll give up your needs to meet her unspoken expectations. And each time you compromise, she tightens the leash. Not out of cruelty, but because it works. Over time, you stop choosing. You start reacting. You become a man who lives to avoid guilt, rather than a man who lives by his principles. Epictetus warned, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When guilt becomes your guide, freedom disappears. You're no longer making choices from strength. You're making them from fear. The answer isn't to fight. It's to return to yourself. Set clear boundaries. Live by your values. And when guilt knocks, ask, "Am I doing wrong, or am I being controlled?" A woman who respects you will never use your conscience against you, but one who does, she's not loving you, she's managing you. 4. She lacks empathy. Life will test you. Illness, grief, failure, storms will come. And when they do, you'll see who truly stands beside you. A woman who lacks empathy won't meet you in your pain. She'll be uncomfortable, dismissive, impatient. You'll open your heart, and she'll change the subject. You'll express your fear, and she'll say, "You're being negative." You'll realize that in your lowest moments, you're not just unsupported, you're alone. True empathy isn't fixing someone. It's being with them. It's listening without judgment. It's sitting in silence when words fail. But a woman who lacks this depth will always bring the conversation back to herself. Her world is too small to hold your pain. As Marcus Aurelius advised, waste no more time hoping someone will become what they are not. If a woman cannot show you empathy in hardship, she will not be there when the real storms hit. You deserve more than proximity. You deserve presence. And if she cannot give it, walk away, not in bitterness, but in wisdom. 5. She's obsessed with superficial things. A woman obsessed with appearances will always keep you running, not toward meaning, but toward validation. Her joy depends on what others see. The shoes, the followers, the luxury. They're not just possessions. They're her identity. And if you don't provide them, you'll be made to feel less than. At first, her ambition may seem exciting, but in time, you'll notice the emptiness underneath it. She chases the next big thing like a high, and the moment she gets it, she's already looking for more. Nothing is ever enough, because she's trying to fill a void that material things were never meant to satisfy. Epictetus reminds us, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. A woman who craves status will never see you for who you are, only for what you give. You'll lose your identity trying to keep up, and eventually you'll be left empty, even if your bank account is full. A Stoic man values what's real: character, virtue, peace. He knows that external things are indifferent, and he walks away from those who can't see beyond them. 6. She can't admit she's wrong. Nothing will exhaust your soul more than a relationship where reason is never welcome. A woman who cannot admit when she's wrong will twist facts, deflect blame, and attack your intentions whenever you challenge her. You could present clear evidence, speak calmly, even appeal to her better nature, but she will still double down. To her, being wrong isn't a growth opportunity, it's a threat to her identity. And so, every disagreement becomes a war zone. Not a discussion, not a mutual reflection, just a tug of war between your truth and her pride. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If anyone can refute me and show me I'm making a mistake, I'll gladly change." It's the truth I'm after. That's the spirit of someone who values truth over ego. But if you're with a woman who never self-corrects, you'll find yourself constantly trying to explain reality and questioning your own in the process. A relationship like that doesn't just cost peace, it costs clarity. And no peace is possible without truth. Some women bring light the very moment they step into a room, with their presence, their calm, their energy. And then there are those for whom the light only returns the moment they leave. Now don't mistake this for bitterness. It's not about holding grudges or pointing fingers. It's about discernment. It's about recognizing patterns before they become regrets. Because life, especially for a man who values his peace, clarity, and purpose, is far too short to entangle with people who confuse, exhaust, or diminish him. If you've lived enough years, and if you've lived with your eyes open, you've come to learn this truth the hard way. Not everyone who smiles at you is a friend, and not every woman who seems charming has your best interest at heart. Some are drawn not to your soul, but to your stability. Some don't love who you are, they love what you provide. And worse still, some are driven not by malice, but by brokenness. They refuse to heal, and they'll pull you into their storm and call it love. A stoic man doesn't fear emotion, but he doesn't bow to it either. He lives by clarity, he values reason, he seeks virtue in himself and in those he chooses to walk alongside. So here are 7 deep, unmistakable signs of a woman whose presence will cost you more than it's worth. Not because she's evil, but because she's not aligned with the life of peace you're trying to build. 1. She is always the victim. The woman who is always the victim is, at first, the one who pulls at your heartstrings. She tells you stories that make you want to protect her, about the ex who betrayed her, the boss who held her back, the family who misunderstood her. You nod, you empathize, and at first, you believe her. Her openness feels refreshing, and you think perhaps all she needs is a man who treats her right. That's the hook. But over time, the pattern reveals itself. In every story, she's the wounded party. Every past relationship ended because the other person was toxic. Every conflict at work was because someone else was jealous or cruel. She has no accountability. And soon, you'll find yourself cast in the same narrative. When you question her, when you ask her to take responsibility, the roles shift. Suddenly, you're the one who doesn't understand her. You're now the villain in her ever-expanding theater of pain. A woman trapped in victimhood does not seek healing. She seeks control. She manipulates through her wounds, not out of malicious intent, but out of a deeply rooted refusal to examine herself. And the deeper you get involved, the more you'll be drawn into her distorted reality. You'll spend your energy soothing her, solving problems she created, apologizing for things you didn't do. And slowly, without noticing, your strength erodes. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. A woman who refuses this truth, who insists the world is always to blame, is a dangerous partner to a man seeking peace. She doesn't just live in chaos, she lives off it. And if you're not careful, you'll be the next person she tells a tragic story about. 2. She's addicted to drama. Drama isn't always loud. Sometimes it comes in waves, sudden arguments, emotional accusations, tears without context, silences that stretch for days. With a woman addicted to drama, peace feels fleeting. At first, you might mistake her emotional intensity for passion, but in time, you'll notice the truth. Whenever life starts to feel stable, she creates friction. Calm unsettles her. Peace makes her restless. She may accuse you of being distant if you don't respond immediately. A forgotten detail might become evidence that you don't care. A quiet evening might be interrupted by an outburst over something trivial. And before you know it, you're spending hours trying to soothe a storm that shouldn't have started in the first place. What's truly alarming is how energized she becomes in conflict. While you're left drained, she seems invigorated. That's because, to her, emotional chaos is a form of control. It keeps her at the center of attention. It feeds her sense of power. But for you, it's a slow bleed, not just of energy, but of your identity. You'll begin to tiptoe around conversations. You'll rehearse your words before speaking. You'll feel your peace slipping away, and you won't know why. Seneca said, "An angry man opens his mouth and shuts his eyes." This applies perfectly here. A woman driven by drama doesn't seek truth or connection. She seeks sensation. And if you're the nearest source, you'll become her favorite trigger. The solution: you stop engaging. You stop trying to fix it. A stoic man does not dance to the rhythm of chaos. He stands still. He watches. And when needed, he steps back in silence. 7. She disrespects your time. Your time is your life. Every moment you give someone is a piece of yourself you'll never get back. A woman who constantly cancels plans, shows up late, or forgets your commitments isn't just disorganized. She's telling you, in subtle ways, that you're not a priority. You may excuse it at first. We all get busy. But if the pattern continues, if she's always on her phone when you talk, always too tired to engage, always flaking at the last minute, understand this: she sees your presence as optional. And eventually, you'll start shrinking your needs, withholding your voice, just to keep the connection alive. Seneca was clear. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Don't waste yours waiting on someone who can't respect your effort. Love isn't just passion, it's attention, it's reliability. And when it's missing, your peace goes with it. Final thoughts. Choose peace over drama, clarity over confusion. The Stoic man is not bitter, he's not cold, but he is clear. He knows that his time, energy, and presence are precious. He doesn't hand them over lightly. And when a relationship becomes a drain rather than a source of strength, he doesn't argue. He doesn't beg. He walks away. You don't need perfection. You don't need fireworks. You need someone who brings peace, not pain disguised as passion. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? Epictetus. If any of these signs resonated with you, don't ignore them. Reflect, recalibrate, and if necessary, release. Because you can rebuild money, you can rebuild health. But once your peace is gone, once your soul is worn down, the cost becomes far too great. Choose wisely, live clearly, walk with peace.